What we really like to help you with here, besides being safe during the disasters, we like to, as we transition here to a period where everybody's a little bit safer and it looks like the threat is starting to calm down, we like to help you deal with the coping skills here. We can all use a little helping hand here during a very stressful time. And Dr. Aleksandra Drecun joins us here once again this morning. Dr. Alex, you need to really pay attention to this when you're going through these disasters, don't you? And really check and see how you're responding. What is the check process? I mean, where do you start to see if you're okay?
Well, I think it's important for individuals to know that it's very normal to experience anxiety, worry, stress, grief, and even have physical symptoms such as a headache or a stomachache at this point in time, because they're going through a serious situation. This is a natural disaster, and it takes an emotional toll. What we're experiencing is unexpected, it's sudden, and it can be very overwhelming for people.
But that's normal, and that's what the first thing we want to stress to people is, hey, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you.
Right.
That is a normal response. So first off, cut yourself some slack, give yourself a break if you're feeling stressed out. Don't think that you're somehow, less capable of coping than others.
Right. So it's not the emotion that's problematic, it's the way that we deal with those emotions that counts. So we want people to engage in healthy coping mechanisms when they're going through a serious event such as this one, a natural disaster with the wildfires. So we emphasize that people really engage in certain behaviors to promote well-being and gain a sense of control as they recover from something so tragic such as this.
Gaining back the sense of control is probably a huge issue for people. They just, we heard from people in the shelter, they said they felt helpless at times, they felt like refugees,
yes.
One gentleman said this morning. I can understand how they would feel like that, but they need to transition back into a normal life. What's the best way to do it?
Well, I recommend 3 strategies. I mean, I think people are so resilient, and it goes to show when you talk about the interviews with these individuals and how optimistic they are. It's important to utilize your support system. So talk to people, share your experience. People are going to listen, empathize with you. I think that's very key. And then taking good care of ourselves is really important as well. It's a key component in recovery. So eating nutritiously, trying to get as much rest as possible, exercising if possible.
I found that exercise is a key.
Yes.
The exercise and the sleep going hand in hand with that. My grandmother, I've told this a million times on the air, but my grandmother used to say, I don't know, it might be something chemical, but if you break a sweat, it seems to help you deal with anxiety and depression. Well, now we know that that's absolutely true.
Right. With the science, we start to produce those feel-good hormones, which I think are so essential in terms of feeling better in a situation such as this. And the third one is just maintaining our routine as much as possible. I know that's a little bit more challenging for people who've been evacuated, but we want to do that to gain a sense of normalcy as much as possible, given the change in circumstances. And it's been really tough on kids, especially.
Well, and I want to, again, go back to the shelter that Renee is at today. We saw some kids she asked the little boy, how has it been here? And he says, awesome. So immediately I turned to my partner and I said, Mom and Dad must be modeling some good behavior.
Absolutely. I think that is so key for parents to model healthy coping for their kids. And if families don't have in place right now a disaster plan, it's really important to put one into place, because I think in order for children to cope well, they need to know what's going on, they need to understand it, and they need to be assured that safety measures are put in place in order to deal with a catastrophic event such as this one.
I know folks can get in touch with you if they need to.
Yes.
We always have your connections on our website. Before you go, we're out of time, but I just want to point out to folks, you do have a stuffed animal on your lap. There's probably a reason for that.
Yes, there is.
This is not your coping skill.
It can be, but it's not.
Yeah.
So, for me I think the deep breathing, the relaxation, those things are wonderful for people, yoga. But for the kids, if they're feeling unsafe or they're feeling vulnerable, it's nice to, take a teddy bear that they might feel safe with, or especially if they're evacuating, choose those items that are going to make people feel better and bring a sense of comfort.
Okay. Dr. Aleksandra Drecun, it's always great to see you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And just had another baby just 2 months ago. Nobody's going to believe me when I tell them that. You look fabulous.
Thank you.